He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Robert Ellis! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God, I'm seriously welling up. Oh my God! Armcharies! There's 1,500 armcharies here tonight. It's very exciting. Although I know some of the dudes don't be known as armcharies. I get a lot of tweets from dudes like, I don't know, man, armcharies? I don't think so. Holy shit, did Robert Ellis play that guitar? Oh my God, you guys. We are so excited to be in Austin, Texas. Sincerely, this is, without question, my favorite city in this country. Last night, there's 11 of us in our group, and 7 of us got food poisoning last night. It's not a sad story. This is not a sad story, because I didn't get it. So I'm one of the 4 strong ones. In the place we ate at, I will not. It'll remain nameless because I don't want to sink a local business. But what's funny is I was texting with Lizzie today, and I said, "Oh yeah, 7 of us got food poisoning. We were up all last night." I said, "But the food, worth the food poisoning. It was good." And Lizzie said, "Might be the best Yelp review of all time. Totally worth the food poisoning." Now, Armchair Expert has a resident babe, a genius. She would not want me to tell you this, but she was one of the 7. If she can make it out here, one of my soulmates in life, please welcome Monica Padman. Monica Padman. She did take a cute
I'm
little...
all better. That's all I needed.
You took a little cat nap, didn't you? Earlier on this couch.
I slept on this couch to recover.
Yeah.
But worth it.
Totally worth it.
Food worth it, but this is worth it.
But you'd go back tonight, wouldn't you? To the place we ate? 100%.
Obviously. Duh.
Obviously. So the guest tonight, the surprise guest, is a very smart human being. She Clue. She has the 4th most viewed TED Talk of all time.
Yeah.
She is a professor at the University of Houston.
Houston!
Get it, girl! Without further ado, please welcome to the stage Brené Brown. What a beautiful care package. UT, is this Longhorn?
That's...
This is Longhorn. Okay, this is all Longhorn stuff, right?
No, there's some jerky from Buc-ee's.
Oh, there is. Okay. So it's a cornucopia of all things Texas.
And a couple of Topo Chicos.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
I did them right.
Chopa Chicos.
Yeah.
What is a Chopa Chico?
Uh-oh.
Guys, I'm trying to learn.
Trouble.
I'm trying being vulnerable and asking about something I don't know about.
Okay, let's start here.
Okay.
Topo.
Chico. Topo Chico.
No.
Now I know topo means watercraft. And I know cheapo means inexpensive. So this is what, like a fishing boat, like an aluminum fishing boat.
I think I should recall my Topo Chico. No, it's sparkling water.
Okay.
With the perfect, would y'all agree, the perfect bubble ratio?
We like a bubble water.
Well, some of the people here know my history with bubble water.
Yeah.
And it involves
Risky.
shitting my pants at Home Depot. And that's sincere.
It's true.
If
Yeah.
bubble water makes you shit your pants, that's a disaster pant waiting to happen.
You heard I had dodged the bullet last night. And
I
you're like,
did.
oh, we'll see if you dodge that
Yeah,
bullet.
we'll see.
So, I want to catch people up to speed. Clearly, most of you knew Brené, but Brené, you had a very big TED Talk that is now number 4 of all time. And it was called The Power of Vulnerability.
Yes.
Yes. And can you just quickly say what type of professor you are? You did social work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Representing.
Is that, now forgive my ignorance, did you major in sociology?
No, social work. Separate
Social
thing.
work, okay.
Bachelor's, master's,
It has
PhD, all social work.
Okay, it has its own discipline. Okay,
own
great.
building.
And now you went to undergrad here
I did.
at University of Texas.
I did.
And I'm just going to guess roughly, I don't really know your age, and just for the sake of this joke, you'll pretend this is what age you are. But when you were at UT, did McConaughey wear shirts then? Matthew McConaughey.
I mean, not with me as much, but with there was just a lot of all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm older than Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
so
you are? Are you? You are not older than, are you?
Yeah.
I am not.
Yes.
I'm not placating you.
Yeah.
You look incredible.
How old do you think how old do you think he is? Let's ask that.
That's
a
a great
good
starter.
question.
That's a
Yeah.
great starter.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 43, and I think he is 8 years older than me. I think he's 51.
Then we're like the same age. But he's not
Does
50.
anyone know how old McConaughey
Somebody
is?
Google that shit. He's not 51.
You guys are roughly the same age. You may have dated. He looked different in college. Because he had his shirt on.
I get this is always uncomfortable for me when we go back to the 80s.
Yeah. Suffice
I didn't
to say,
know him.
you went to UT.
You know what?
What?
No. I was on the 12-year plan.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I graduated with my undergraduate degree like 6 months before I turned 30.
Oh, you did?
Oh.
Okay, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And you weren't with child.
No.
It's just lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bartended a lot.
Oh, you did?
And I hitchhiked across Europe, and I played a lot of tennis.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're like retired, but.
First. You
Yeah.
retired first. Sounds
I
fun.
did it. I retired, then I went to work.
Bartender at night, tennis in the day.
Yeah.
Like
And-
one adult ed class on a Thursday night for 4 hours.
And I worked for a large, not to be named, telecommunications company, taking calls in Spanish.
Oh, really? You're fluent in Spanish? Well, you pronounced the shit out of that drink you brought me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like a
not a
clue.
tough one. No, but I did. I worked for AT&T. I'll just say that. But I used to
Okay.
say, "Gracias por llamar AT&T. Mi nombre es Brené. ¿Cómo te puedo servir?"
Oh, that's
Wow.
that's phenomenal.
But
I would think that was your first language if I was a caller.
until you asked a technical question, and then I would be like, "No, el jack in the wall."
And you just start saying
Yeah,
English
and then
words.
they transferred me to another department. But
Wha-
I did speak Spanish.
Why did you speak Spanish?
5 years of French, and then a Spanish-speaking boyfriend for a couple years.
I
doing the
was going to
hitch-
make the joke, they say lovers are the best language teachers, and in this case, that was true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love stereotypes. I don't know if you know this about me. So anytime a stereotype comes true, Monica's
Yeah.
upset, and I'm delighted.
Yeah.
So it was a Latin lover who taught you Spanish.
I'd say it was a Latin boyfriend,
Okay, great. Now,
just to narrow the box.
but you
Thank
grew
you.
up. You grew up in San Antonio.
Born there, yeah, and then back there from like 18 to 20 something.
I'm so confused about your timeline because
Yeah,
you went to
it's-
college here for 12 years.
No,
and
no,
then
no.
you were also there. a ton.
No.
Just for tennis tournaments and whatnot back in the...
I started at St. Mary's in
Okay.
San Antonio.
Okay.
Then I got a note that said, you can't go to school here if you're not attending class and just playing tennis.
That's bullshit.
It was.
Of all places, I think Austin would be like, hey, we just
No,
found
that was San Antonio, St. Mary's,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So then I moved here, and then I started waiting tables and bartending and kind of got serious about school, but it took me a long time.
Okay. And maybe this will dovetail into some stuff we talked backstage. I just want to put out there really quick that we don't know each other,
No.
right? Only over Twitter, which this is one of the good stories that comes out of Twitter.
where we
There's
met.
Very few, but this is one of the good ones. But we like each other on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, I really want to go into the stuff that, like the work you've done, the research work. And then within 5 seconds of meeting you, we had 9 disagreements within 8 minutes. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is what we went through in 5 minutes backstage, whether you can say pussy or not. I tried to make an argument that since we're saying dick, you can say pussy, but maybe we'll touch on that.
I called bullshit.
She calls bullshit.
Yeah.
My argument in a nutshell is this. First of all,
In a very small nutshell.
you're playing on the stereotype of penis shaming, and I accept it, and I applaud
I
it.
wasn't even thinking
I think
about
it's
that.
great. I think all the shaming should work. No, but
All the shame.
I want to say out of the gates, it's deplorable that we call people pussies, referring to them as cowards, and that the female genitalia is now somehow synonymous with weakness. So that's wrong.
Yep.
That's wrong. That's wrong. So I'm on the record. That is wrong. But I would argue it's equally wrong that every asshole in the world is a dick. Like, that's my genitalia, y'all. So it's cool if my genitalia is used to shame people, but not your genitalia. It feels very equal.
Who do you think
But
has...
you don't agree.
Right, because your genitalia is attached to the patriarchy.
Yep.
And
My testicles are in between that, but yes.
no, you know what? I just think there's a. I take.
You don't think it's equal?
No.
Because the balance of power is such that
Right.
it makes
Exactly.
it different.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not equal.
But then I proposed this question to you. I said, okay, so we're not going to use pussy anymore.
This is all within like
4
20 seconds of meeting him.
And my wife was like, yeah, tear him up. Get in there. Fuck him up. Your PhD, let him have it. So I said, okay, pussy's off the table now. Dude doesn't want to jump off a tall bridge. It's not a pussy.
Right. Smart guy.
Yeah.
But then I said, then we can't say dick anymore. You can't say a dick cut me off in traffic.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can. Okay.
I mean, there's something.
All right, so that's-
there's something poetic about. Look, don't be a dick.
Listen, round one is you. Round
Yeah.
one is you.
Okay.
Or to put it in your terms, love 15.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more live show after this exciting commercial break.
Shame is something you talk about a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in shame for a lot of reasons. A, I carried a ton of it as a drunk. It's why I do the 9th step. It's all these things. Shame is just a huge component of my life. I'm very susceptible to it, and as I deserve to be for years. But I'm interested in an anthropological sense that it most certainly served a very specific purpose evolutionarily. Because, as you say, we are social animals. We live in multi-member groups. And for the vast majority of the time we've been on planet Earth, we did not have governments that were enforcing rules or, police, anything. So the group was enforcing all of our commonly held morals, right? And so I do believe shame was the glue that probably allowed us to coexist. We are genetically hardwired to feel shame, to keep our behavior within keeping of the group we're in. It had to have served that purpose, do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I absolutely think it had a role if you look at evolutionary biology, for sure. I mean, you do this, and you still see it in animal species. Like, you do this, and you threaten our group, or you break some standard that we have, then we shun you, which is stigma and shame, and then you die because you're not a part of the collective.
Right. You've broken our little social contract in
Right.
And so that's its purpose. But like so many things that helped us evolutionarily throughout our 200,000-year history are now vestigial and are cancerous to us. So my example is at Halloween, when Halloween rolls around, my brain tells me eat 20 Snickers bars.
Right.
Because we don't know when we'll come upon another Snickers bar tree.
And
that's in bloom.
The season is short.
Yes, it could be a year.
Right.
Eat every one you can get your hands
Totally.
on. And my brain is screaming that. And it's real. The chemicals associated with it are real. And yet I've got to combat that and go, oh no, Snickers bars are 365 days a year. They're in bloom. And I can get them at any time. So ignore that, which is a very strong message I'm getting.
Right.
And there are so many things like that but I think, so we all seem to understand that. We seem to understand we were hardwired to eat way more food than we should ever eat.
Store up, yes.
We accept that.
Yeah.
What I don't think people spend a ton of time thinking about is we're also hardwired to be obsessed with our place in the group. Who's alpha, who's beta, who's gamma, where am I in this group? And there's so much uncertainty, especially because we're designed to live with about 100 people, and now we live with 7 billion people. So our preoccupation with where we are at in this social hierarchy is all-consuming. For me, it's all-consuming. The example I give is we go to concerts in LA at this place, Hollywood Bowl. If I'm in the 7th row, I'm furious at the people 6 rows ahead of me. I'm sure it's happening here tonight. And what I tell myself, the logical part of my brain goes, oh, I'm mad because they can see and hear the concert better. But that's not true. What's really happening is my primate brain is going, oh, they have more access to food and mates and grooming. They are higher status. They're going to have a much better time. But I'm not aware of that. It's just blowing over my head. I'm just jealous of these people who seem to have more money and clout than me. And it's all-consuming and it's maddening. Your question was what? I just steamrolled you. No, but I just wanted to, I was curious in your line of work and expertise, the things that you think are now vestigial that we must police ourselves against.
Well, I think shame is the big one because we don't need it anymore because our capacity for emotion, to understand emotion in ourselves and others, has grown so much that, you can still change a behavior on a dime with shame, especially with children. But it's like hitting a plastic thumbtack, with a mallet. Like you're gonna crush everything around it. And so I do think we're constantly up against that brain that is saying, where is my rank? And even below that, it's about what is my level of lovability? Like, how lovable am I? Because in the absence of love and belonging, there's always suffering. There's always addiction, depression, anxiety. And so I think we're constantly monitoring connection and influence because we're
social and we want to be accepted.
Yeah, just think about, we don't think about this. Like, we're a social species. Imagine a newborn, unattended. Will die.
Well, there was those horrific, is my wife around? She could probably hear me. Romania, thanks, hon.
Wow.
I keep my database right over there. Guys, Princess Anna's just over there. But there was those orphanage studies in Romania where that happened, unfortunately. We got data on that, which is if kids weren't touched, babies weren't touched, they died, right?
And so think about how strong that is. It's really interesting. John Cacioppo studied loneliness at the University of Chicago, and he said, despite, and it speaks to your concert experience, despite what people say, a fully developed, fully functioning member of a social species is not someone who grows into complete independence. It's someone on whom others can count. So that's the mark of true, that's the pinnacle, man, that you are someone that people can count on and connect with.
And I wonder if the first goal you listed, hell yeah, love 40? No. Is that how it works? Love 15, 30, 40, deuce, I won? Is that how it goes?
Oh, tennis.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm listening. Just
Okay,
call
great.
it a match.
That was crushing. But yeah, that first goal, you should grow up to be somebody entirely independent, which is weirdly a goal that you think you should have for
Totally,
your kid.
yeah.
Do you think it's uniquely American? Like, that's kind of what we've been selling for a while.
I just think we've leveraged the shit out of that message. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I just think we have taken that and combined it with our pioneer spirit and all that stuff and just marketed the shit out of that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of how even the American dream, I'll be dangerous and say the American dream, which is certainly working for some people, clearly. I'm the recipient of it. There are many people that are the recipient of it. Also, statistically, it says it's not really functioning if you're born into a certain strata. The percentage is horrifically low of people who escape that.
Yeah.
But part of it, we do have to kind of like remind everyone of the Disneyland aspect, right? And that's part of it, maybe.
And I think it's part of what makes capitalism work. Like,
Yes.
I think selling the deal of independence. But it's so funny because when I listen to Armchair, one thread that I would say I hear across a lot of the interviews is you always seem to equate success with generosity. I mean, you talk a lot. You talk a lot when you're interviewing people about how generous they are and the role of generosity. So
Well, yeah. And one thing I talk a lot about with people, because quite often the people I interview have attained the thing that is the American dream, which is they're famous and they are rich. And then I have asked now 48 people if it cured all of their existential crises, or if they woke up in the morning and liked the person they saw in the mirror. And Mark Maron. Besides Mark Maron, that hasn't solved anything for anybody.
No.
In fact, it was so refreshing when he said, "No, it has worked. Like, I have money now and I'm famous." and then that's the one we should hoist up to keep the model going. So the thing that I am interested in is, and then I just learned this backstage about you, and I don't know how open you are about it, but we're both sober. Now you're open about it. We're both sober.
super open.
And I think through sobriety, you kind of learn some tools about what things actually do make you like your reflection in the mirror, and they're just unfortunately not those things, right?
Yeah, unfortunately they're not. They're much harder things. And and actually I think one thing I've noticed since my career has changed is authenticity is one of those things that keeps me centered and grounded. And the more that I experience, I guess, traditionally what success is, #1 books or a big TED Talk, the more scared shitless I am to be myself. Because then I feel like I got a lot to lose now. And now there's 30 people who work with me, and now I got to watch everything I say and do, the exact opposite of what made me successful.
I was going to ask you that, because as you get known for being someone with a lot of the answers, don't you run a big risk to yourself? I find myself guilty of this. Is like my wife, a lot of her girlfriends will ask me for advice. And I like that. It gives me self-esteem. And then there's nothing pervy yet going on. There's just some giggling, but that'll come. But I have to police myself, because I go, oh, I like this role of someone who's got the answers. And then I can't admit my own failings, because I'm afraid if I admit to you, well, I fucked up just yesterday. Like, I'm telling you these things, but I just broke my own rule yesterday, or I did something regrettable this morning. I'm afraid I'll lose that position as someone who has the answers. And do you have that fear, having become known for having quite a few of the answers?
No, because I think the people who follow my work are super clear that I fuck up all the time.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, because I mostly write about that. Like, I mostly say, look, hey, this is what I discovered about wholeheartedness, and in that bullshit, and doesn't that make you want to kick somebody in the face? Like, I'm super honest about that. So I'm pretty straightforward. So like if someone sees me, like I've got friends though that are kind of in my field, and they get like if their kid is like throwing the Cheetos out of the basket at the grocery store and screaming, "I hate you," and then people are like, "Oh my God, but you're the expert." But if people see that with my kids, they're like, "Oh, right on, right? I know."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna shame you because that's gonna be my kid in the next aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never went evangelical perfect. So
Right.
therefore I will never have to cry and admit my imperfection. I went straight on imperfect.
Right. It's
Yeah.
Well, what's really funny is you and I have a similar embracing of one topic in particular, which is I discovered you after we started this podcast, and you seem to love the messiness of being human. That seems
Yeah.
to be like an actual phrase you use as well.
I love it.
You don't have a boat called D's Knots, do you? But yeah, you seem to.
No.
You probably don't know that my dream in life is to own a boat called D's Knots. And then I was heartbroken to discover that someone already owns a boat called D's Knots.
And he thought maybe that they
They-
heard it on the podcast and
quickly.
then they named their boat D's Knots. Which,
It's so embarrassing.
But so lovable.
Okay, good.
Like in a, yeah.
So you seem to use the word worthiness in a way that I generally maybe think of self-esteem. So tell me about worthiness. Am I wrong to think that? Because you describe worthiness is believing you're worthy of being accepted by the group is really the answer,
Yeah.
right?
But with believing, I think believing that not if and not when, no prerequisites, right now, as is, messy, wounded, broken in places, put back together with new little duct tape and glue, like I am worthy of love and belonging and joy right now. That's to me what worthiness is. I think people call it self-esteem. You know, that's probably like an academic thing because that's a dicey term in my
Self-esteem
field.
is?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me why. You're full of shit, but tell me why. I'll let you try. It's a great term.
Don't be a dick. Okay. What are you drinking? Oh, Diet Coke.
Little DC.
Little DC.
It really makes the nicotine pop. It's a nice companion piece. It kind of turbocharges the nicotine.
Did you smoke?
I quit 12 years ago.
Oh, I quit drinking and smoking the same day.
Oh, you did? I bet you were such a pleasure to be around the next day.
You know what? Do you miss smoking?
Because you're such a pushover now.
Yeah.
Just 12 years, 20 years later.
Yeah,
I can
I was
only
like-
imagine.
Like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah, day one.
Yeah. Do you miss smoking?
I don't miss smoking at all. Weirdly, thank God, when I see it happening, now I actually go like, oh my God, how preposterous. I was like putting smoke in these tiny little fragile bags in my chest. That was crazy. And then even just today, because the last time I was here was for a movie I'd made and my dad was in it, and I was thinking a lot about my dad today. And then I was thinking about the fact that he used to fucking drive, he had a nice Corvette. We lived in a welfare apartment building, but he had a Corvette. He just put his cigarettes out in his new car. Like when you got in his Corvette, it's just hundreds of cigarette butts just put out in the armrest virtually of the car.
I
That's
like
crazy. I'm like, why not just spit in the car? Like just chew tobacco and spit in the glove box.
So you're a hateful ex-smoker.
I'm not hateful. It really clicked at one point, like, oh, that's a real gross thing I was doing to myself. If you smoke, that's awesome. I'll buy you a pack of cigarettes. I'm not judgmental. But just somehow it occurred to me, wow, actually, if I was going to pick one thing I was going to go back to, smoking or cocaine, I would go back to cocaine. I think I would die sooner of cigarettes. It sounds like you've cheated recently.
No.
Oh.
No, you know what? I won't ever do it again because of my kids.
Okay.
But I miss smoking all the time.
You do? Okay.
All the time.
Have you ever tried the lozenges?
No, I don't want that. I just want to, especially, like, I usually have a pen in my car. So, like, if a good song comes on, like Metallica or, something, and then I just need to crack the window and smoke the pen.
Punctuate it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you have a pen?
Yeah.
A vape pen?
No.
Oh,
a
just
big pen.
Writing
a
pen.
ballpoint pen.
A ballpoint pen.
Or as you would say, a boligrapho. A boligrapho? Yeah. Como se dice pen? Boligrapho?
Oh, yeah, that was so, I was like, I didn't know where you were going. No.
I'm going to be going backwards and forwards
That's
quite
good.
a bit.
Yeah.
I'll go with you.
Okay.
No, I
You'll
just have
smoke
like
your
a
pen.
like a big pen, just something I can hold and like flick out the window, like get your motor running, like that.
Head out on the
Highway.
highway.
Wait,
Looking for my big pen. A ballpoint will do.
and every now and then, if it's a really good lyric, the smoke should come out of your nose.
Uh-huh. Okay, you got me. I'll tell you when I miss it.
Okay,
Did not take long.
that was 20 seconds.
This is why two addicts should never hang out. It's like, you're right, it was good. The music did sound better. And I was more optimistic. And chicks loved me when I smoked.
The chicks.
Oh, they fucking love it. What was that? I couldn't hear you. I was lighting my cigarette.
What about this?
Oh, fuck it. Packing the shit out of those. Yeah. Like, and what a weird goal. The goal is to, like, expose some more of the paper.
I know.
So, like, when you light it in front of your chick, you're like, and then it fucking blows up at the end. Wasn't that cool? I almost caught on fire.
Packing it, and then wait. What if you say, like you're in a bar on 6th Street, and you go, hey, you got a light? And they pull out the Zippo.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, oh
Panty dropper.
my God.
Yeah. Pants off. And then if they take the zip and open it like that, where they're like, boom!
Yes.
Yeah.
That's got some mojo. You gotta admit.
Yeah, I will admit that. You and I should get out of here and just grab a pack of Camel Lights. Fuck this place.
Anyway, what were we talking
Yeah,
about?
fuck worthiness and self-esteem.
Yeah.
Let's burn some butts.
Oh, man.
Cut to us at the Four Seasons in bed. Wait, did you say you were married? Yeah, weren't we sober 2 hours ago? Woo!
You know what? I've never missed the drinking.
You haven't.
Not once.
Can I just tell you when I miss smoking? Because you had me. Rainy day. That's it. Go ahead. When do you miss drinking? Or you don't miss drinking? You don't ever miss drinking.
No, but I don't, No, wait, listen.
You couldn't even hold that. You couldn't even pull that off for 25 seconds.
No, but listen. This is true. I went to an AA meeting. My first, I was going to do 6 meetings in 6 days.
That's not how it goes, but go ahead. There's 7 days in a week, but go ahead.
Why?
There's no
God,
saying in
even
AA 6
God.
and 6.
Well, I have.
There's 90 and 90.
In Houston, that's what they do
there's
it.
only 6 days a week in Houston.
Well, you rest on. It's a spiritual program.
Okay, all right.
You rest on the 7th day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in church filling the God-sized hole, so back the fuck off. Okay.
Okay.
But think about this. Wait, where was I? This is
6
important.
meetings in 6 days was the goal.
Maybe we have different slogans here.
Apparently. Again, we have 7 days in LA, so of course there's going to be different slogans.
It was 6 and 6.
So when
That's
you
all I
guys say
remember.
opens, you go 24/6? Oh, you're going to love that restaurant. Yeah, they're always open, 24/6. And then what's 6 times 52? 350.
I'm so glad that we kept Dick in the lexicon.
Yeah, you're going to need it.
Like, I'm
You're
glad that
gonna need
made
it.
the cut because no. So here's what happened. I go to the meeting, but I didn't feel like I got some stink eye from some of the old timers.
Sure, that happens.
Yeah. Then I went to another meeting, and then I was like, let me find like the temporary sponsor, and I found that, and we went out to dinner, and she talked to me for a couple hours, and she said, I don't know where you belong.
Oh.
And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, I don't know if you're drunk enough for AA. And she said, but you're pretty codependent, and here's what you should do. She said,
Two compliments.
Yeah. It
Which,
was-
by the way, only people that are addicts would be offended by you're not drunk enough. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking about? I've spilled more on my shirt than you've drank.
It was. I was like, maybe I need to show her. So then she said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try all these different meetings, and I want you to quit drinking, smoking, emotional eating, and trying to take care of other people in your life.
Wow.
On
once.
one day,
Yeah.
at once?
That's why I took the 7th day off.
Yeah,
You deserve
I
it.
hope you just didn't wake up that 7th day.
Yeah. So I was like, she said I had the poo-poo platter of addiction.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I said, okay, and I tried all those things. But I don't know that drinking was hard. It wasn't as hard as smoking.
Yeah. I agree.
The only emotion that leads me to want to drink is when I get super like max anxiety. And probably 5 or 6 times in the last 21 years, I thought, oh, this is why people drink wine after work.
Well, kids has brought that out in me. Like, but yeah, a 3 and a 5-year-old, when you get through the war zone and they're finally in bed, I'm like, I get it. You need a drink after that. Like, you really need.
You need a lot of drinks after that.
Yeah, you
sometimes.
do. Sometimes you need to black right out after that.
No, but you know what? Woo, sorry.
And I also, what can I just say too?
Yeah.
I'll be places and I'm looking at the other parents and they're cheating because they're drunk. And so.
That's totally cheating if you're drunk when they're awake.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
but it
not
looks
good.
awesome. Like, you go on vacation, the parents are drunk, and they don't hear the screaming or any of this stuff. They're not worried how the kids are going to turn out or anything. It looks so liberating until the morning. And then in the morning, I'm like, aha.
Yeah.
Now your kids are twice as loud as mine are. So it's all, what do you want? You're like living for the morning
Even
or living for the
Steven.
evening? Yeah. Okay.
No, I think I always say that if everyone who takes the edge off every night with a few beers or glasses of red wine stopped drinking, vineyards across the world would collapse within 24 hours. Like, everyone may not numb chronically and compulsively, which I think is addiction, but people definitely numb to their detriment. I mean, we have got a world full of numbers.
Yeah.
Well, right. So numbing is one of the topics that you've done a lot of writing on and public speaking on. And yeah, tell us about numbing, because there's a trillion ways to numb, right? You can be online buying shit.
Yeah,
you
for
can,
sure.
Right?
Yeah, I think this is what I think was most shocking for me about the research, that you cannot selectively numb emotion. So when you say, this is really hard, I'm in grief or disappointment or anxiety, and you use something to take the edge off of the hard stuff, you by default are numbing the light as well. You cannot selectively numb emotion.
Yeah.
So the edge of pain may be dulled, but the edge of joy will also be dulled.
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult. You know, I mean, we talked about this backstage because my kids are 13 and 19. And I was telling you, my husband is just not, he's the kind of guy that like drinks a 12-pack a year, or he'll get out some chips. He's here tonight.
I wonder, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Steve.
Steve, well, now just can I ask Steve a quick question? When you drink that 12th beer, I guess in month number 12, is it turnt or does it taste good still? Is it shitty or is it just as good as the January beer?
I mean, do we have, I don't know where you are, but do we or do we not have beer in our refrigerator that's like 3 years old?
Steve left. Good for him.
Bye,
Yeah,
Steve.
he's out.
See you, Steve.
You want to talk about self-care? He's like, I've heard you talk. You're smart. We get it.
You know what else he does?
I bet he's with Kristen.
At the bar.
Fucking pounding a
At the,
beer.
Yeah.
Smoking and drinking at the Four Seasons.
Yes. They just finished up. We're
No,
going to
you
see
know what
what's
he-
on the movie selection.
You know what Steve does? Steve will say, I want some chips. He'll get the bag of chips. He'll pull out like a handful, put it in a bowl, put the bag back together, and put the clip back on the bag.
So he's a psychopath. It's
Yeah.
weird because I just met Steve and I shook his hand and he looked like a normal person, and now I realize he is a psychopath.
He just doesn't have that. He doesn't have that like
Zest
I'm gonna
for
have
life, yeah. The like reason to be on planet Earth.
He does.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
He doesn't numb. He just
That's
leans.
not true. He's a wonderful person.
He is amazing.
Yeah, and he's probably treating
Don't be a
Kristen
dick.
very nicely.
He just leans into all the stuff as opposed to taking the edge off. Like, we need the edge. Like, I don't think I've interviewed a single person in 20 years, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of people that didn't want like more joy, more intimacy, more trust, more love, but also wanted, less pain, less, and so you can't have it both ways.
Yes, but wouldn't you agree? Like, I'm very pro drinking for people who can have a couple beers a night. I think it's awesome. I hope many of you are
Sloshed.
half in the bag at least. Yeah. I'm kind of pro, like, let's just put it this way. We're living in an environment that is not one we were designed for. And so
True.
Some alleviating of that stress, I think if you can do it in a balanced way. I'm pretty for that. Are you for that?
I'm for real comfort and real enjoyment. I'm not for numbing the shit out of things.
Okay, but
Like-
have you ever wakeboarded with 4 beers in you?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, yeah, then it was probably more than 4.
Yeah.
But do you think that's Steve's genetic disposition, or something he was just raised well?
No,
or
I
he
think for sure. I feel bad talking about Steve a lot, but I think it's.
He's not here. He'll never know.
Yeah, that's true.
He left. Yeah.
No, I think it's how
Or
he's-
anyone.
I think it's how. I think it's wiring.
Yeah.
I think we both have addiction on both sides of our families. I think we've told our kids since they were probably in kindergarten, look, and because I believe in this idea, because I think there's enough good science behind the idea that genetics loads the gun and environment pulls the trigger. And so we've just said, you're locked and loaded for a lot of stuff. And we don't know how it's going to turn out, and it could be nothing or it could be something. So the longer you wait to explore those things, the safer it will be. Because if you do it while your brain's still developing and this stuff is happening, so we're really honest about it. And I'll tell you the other thing that was really shocking to me as a parent is having to have the conversation with my kids about when they spend the night at other people's houses, how much parents drink. And like saying, like, I don't want you in the car with this dad after 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's awkward to have
It is, yeah.
13-year-old
well, and it's
have
also
to
putting
say.
a lot on them.
It is.
Yeah. But just to counter that, the joy of doing mushrooms in your own family home, it's so confusing. You're like trying to wrap the head around, like, I grew up here. Like, I grew up here. And you feel like you should know something because you grew up in this room. There's few things can compete with that. The joy of that.
You know what? I've never done drugs.
Oh, you haven't?
Never.
Uh-oh.
We're going to get some
Here you-
tonight
here
on
you
our way
go.
to the Four Seasons.
Here it is.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
I've never done.
We're
you
going to
know why?
expand our consciousness.
Because I started high school, so this is true, in 1979. So I graduated in 83. And I don't know if this is true everywhere, but like when I was growing up in high school, everyone talked about like, if you do drugs, a million spiders come out of your eyeballs, or there's a girl that walked through a plate glass window. Do you remember that?
They're
Oh,
after
yeah.
school specials, yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I went to a high school that was on the cover of People magazine for more suicides than any other high school in the U.S. at that time.
Because they weren't doing shrooms? Or?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what we were missing. But it was so like.
It was heavy. The
Yeah.
whole thing was pretty
And
heavy.
I never, just because I was like, I like to drink and party and get wild, didn't mean I wasn't in control of shit. So like to do
Yeah.
something that you swallowed and then like, who knows? No.
I'm the same way, and it's his mission in life to get me to do mushrooms. Oh, God.
Oh, good! I have teammates!
But what do you think about all the new research on psychedelic drugs and like?
Well, so
Yeah.
there's a ton now of very smart people recommending it, especially at end of life, because...
And grief, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys maybe have heard these podcasts. There was... I wish I could remember the guy's name, but in essence, what happens is if you take the right amount of psilocybin, the area of your brain that's really in charge of your identity and your sense of self, it just kind of gets obliterated. It goes offline, and then you're more able to experience the part of your brain that can feel connectedness and life and all the things that we'd probably like to be in better touch with. So definitely with people that are towards the end of their life and they're wrestling a ton with self and identity, it can be really helpful to help them feel the connectedness that we all have.
Who wrote the book, The Omnivore's Dilemma?
Oh, that's the guy. Yes, he's the guy that.
Oh,
Michael Pollock.
Jackson Pollock.
right.
Thank you.
No.
So,
But no,
Jackson
I was-
Pollock.
Jackson Pollock.
But you're right.
painted
He's
a
the guy
picture,
who
yeah.
currently is making the
So
circuit.
his book, and I just bought it because I listened to a podcast with him and Tim Ferriss.
Yep, that's what I heard too.
And it was very persuasive. And,
Yeah.
And I believe there's things that we don't know.
Well,
and
Bill
understand.
W. did LSD therapy in sobriety. I'm not advocating that. This is a historical fact that Bill W. did LSD therapy while sober.
They talked about that on the seventh day. I was not
You
there.
were not there, okay.
I wasn't there for that.
Now, okay, so really quick, you and I both, we share a belief, we almost fetishize vulnerability because it is my experience in life that I don't really learn a lot from people telling about their victories.
True.
Like, yeah, and then day 8, I summited Everest. And I'm like, cool. I have a hard time taking like 3 flights of stairs. Thanks. But if someone's like, oh my God, I fucking blew up at my kid last night, and I said this, and then I said that, and then I like, you have my attention, and I'm like, yeah, I did that thing too, and then maybe if that person found out something on the backside of that helped them, now maybe they've earned my trust. I know they're flawed like me, and that is the magic of AA in my experience, which is we're just in there going like, well, I fucking blew it. On the way here, I've seen guys get to AA meetings who were in a fist fight at a street light down the street, then to realize they're both going to an AA meeting, come in holding hands. I'm like, that sums up the whole experience.
It does. And I think it's too, when you're sitting there and there's this, I can't remember what it says. Maybe you'll tell me exactly in the big book, but it says we're not here to deflate an overblown ego. We're here to find self-worth. I mean, like, and when you're sitting there, and like, that's why when I was getting my PhD I got sober the day after I finished my MSW.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I got sober because the last assignment in my MSW program was to draw a genogram, which is a map of your family. And so I got on the phone with my mom, and I was like mapping this family, and I was like, it was like, shake the family tree and the drunks fall out. Like, I was
Right.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And all I had grown up hearing was like wild folklore stories about these people. Like, they were fun and they were
Me too.
wild.
Uncle Cal shot Uncle Doug's
Yes,
head off.
yes.
Like, for real, the
Yes.
Honchos on my grandma's side, they shot each other.
Well, that's exactly.
It was a great story when you're like 8.
And he was like, it really was a story where he robbed a bank, and his dad was the sheriff and said, if you don't leave Texas in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to kill you and kill your children. But he fell in love with a girl in El Paso, and so he stayed. But the dad shot him. Like,
It's like an Elmore Leonard novel. It's like, it's,
it is.
It's
Yeah.
great.
And you're like, yeah, I'm just a Texan, like that.
Yeah, sure,
Right.
yeah.
But then you're like, oh my God. I'm a
Well,
drunk Texan.
once you realize, like, oh, I'm en route to be Uncle Cal. That's when it freaks you out. Like, oh yeah, well, I've had a gun out in someone's presence. I didn't shoot them, but I've had that
you?
experience. Yes, I've had a gun out in someone's presence. Annihilated drunk. Not to bring it down. Yeah, I've had a dozen scenarios that could have gone sideways when
yeah.
blacked out. And when you start realizing, like, oh my God, I'm actually taking the baby steps to end up there. That's, it's hard to have perspective on your own life.
For sure.
It's almost impossible.
And that's why I think the genogram was so helpful, because I was like, I just
gotta
said to my
see it
mom, I
writing.
was like, this is a shit show. And she's like, tell me I was there. Yeah, and I was like, yeah. And so in some ways it was a high bottom, because I just decided, I was like, I'm not doing this. I can see where, I can play the story to the end. And so for me, it was really about, it was making a choice.
But it's an incredible experience, and if you've never been to an AA meeting, I don't know where you get this experience, because I've never had it elsewhere in life, other than maybe this show, where you sit down with strangers and you hear their shortcomings and their failures and the vulnerability, and it's the first place I ever witnessed it. Maybe in like my core group of friends growing up in Detroit, we had those moments. But outside of that, get it, Detroit? Motor City Madhouse. Where do you get that in life? I don't know where that exists. That wasn't my experience the
No.
times I went to church. Maybe that's your experience. You like church still. You like church, right? It's okay.
You know what?
What?
I like God.
You like God. Okay.
Yeah, I like God. I've fallen out with church a little bit.
You have.
I've fallen out with church
was
a little bit.
what seemed, it's not incongruous. I learned this on the podcast. It's incongruous. What seemed incongruous with your aversion to shame is that you would go to a place that to me seemed like the biggest perpetuator of shame historically. Organized religion.
Well,
Right? It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's the coal in the furnace of religion is at least from my outside perspective seems to be shame. I also know it's the big recruiting tool for like ISIS. Like that's sincere. They find these guys and they're like, "We know you've done something terrible." And they're like, "Yeah," because we all think we've done something terrible. In my case, I have. You just learned with the guns, but that tool, you've done something terrible. It would take you a lifetime if you're lucky to get to the right place, but I can give you a shortcut. That seems like a good path. And that's so dangerous. But anyways, tell me how you've, like when you were enjoying religion, how did you compartmentalize that? That sounds condescending, but tell me
No,
about
it's
that.
not. I mean, I think I wrestle with everything you just said.
Okay.
So, I think taking a broad whack at all churches is hard because I think there are some churches that, so I'll just share the research with you.
Okay,
And then
great.
So here's what we found. That people always ask, is there one denomination more shaming than others? And the answer was no.
Oh.
Except there were congregations that bubbled up as more shaming. So it's not
I can't
about,
imagine those Westboro Baptist folks.
Well, that's one
Aren't leading the
congregation,
pack
right?
in
That's one
something.
congregation.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but they're just hateful assholes. Like,
Well, hold on.
yeah.
Oh, God. Oh. I wouldn't be
just wanted to-
surprised.
I just
I would
wanted to
not
bring
be
Monica
I'm
back
just
surprised.
gonna turn it
online.
over here.
It's going to collapse.
We'll just get in the fetal position.
They were
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
one day I can't even say it. They were at that one funeral. They made a great point about parking.
But
just
like, I think if you look at them and you think, I mean, obviously we don't, but I think there are some churches and some organizations that work really hard to do the opposite, to say, you're here, we see you, you belong. It doesn't matter, we're all together. And I think that's the power. Right now, for me, I'm struggling a little bit because I don't know why I'm struggling. I go in and out of church. I'm full-time God, but I go in and out of church.
Now,
But I miss it when I'm
the
gone.
The community part, I get.
That's it.
That's it. And I get it at meetings, and I go,
Yeah.
I get religion, because there is a power in community. But then again, that's a tiny bit dicey, because that's also like in-group. There's a little in-group, out-group. There's a little part of your brain that's being satiated by that, because
Yeah.
you defined yourself in opposition to other people, and that's a little tricky as well. But currently, so you don't have any real reason to tell me that it's not a shame factory.
No, I think some churches are. I think it's how people use God. I don't think God is inherently shaming.
Right.
I think how people
Okay, good.
use God is inherently shaming. And when I go to church, I go for 3 reasons. I go to pass the peace with people I don't know. I go to sing with strangers. And I go to take communion with people who I probably, if we were talking about politics or social issues, I'd want to punch in the face.
Right.
I want to go somewhere in my life to experience collective joy, and to believe there's something greater and bigger that brings us together. And for me, that is God. And I want to share that with people.
Yeah.
But I do get really frustrated with the sausage making piece. Like, I don't need a congregation or some kind of like convention of people to call together a meeting to see if we should ordain gay, lesbian, transgendered, queer people. I don't need
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And if you need to talk about that, I don't want to talk about that. That's like, if we're not fighting for that, then you're not on God's side. So that's where I get frustrated.
So you just hit on something that you and I also seem to have a lot of concern over, and I talk about it ad nauseum, and I want to hear you talk about it, which is how siloed we are in our political points of view.
Yeah.
And what the result of that is, because you actually have data on what the result of that is, which is increased loneliness, ironically, right?
Yeah, you would think. So it's some of the stuff I wrote about in Braving the Wilderness. So we're the most kind of sorted by belief Americans ever in history. We now more than ever live with, worship with, hang out with people who believe like us politically and culturally. Yet at the same time, we're also more lonely than we've ever been, ever.
You're right. It's counterintuitive.
It is counterintuitive, except that what I have figured out from the research and the interviews is that it's exactly what you say about the in-group, out-group stuff, which is I call it common enemy intimacy.
Yes.
We hang out together because the only thing we actually have in common is we hate the same people.
We hate the same people, yes. And I rail about this a lot. That's a terrible reason to like one another.
It's
is
terrible.
That we hate. You see this in high school all the time. It's like, I fucking hate Depeche Mode. You do too? Yeah, fuck Depeche Mode.
Yeah, that's exactly
Let's go have a cigarette outside. And then what I always say is you just look at the practicality of that. If you're bonding over something you hate,
right.
There's then nothing to do beyond that. Because you can't go like, yeah, I fucking hate Depeche Mode. Me too. Well, let's not go to a Depeche Mode concert. That's step number one. Whereas if you bond over things you like, then it's like, well, now let's go to a Depeche Mode concert. Or whatever it is. If you're defining yourself by things you're in opposition to, it's innately unproductive, weirdly.
And let me riff off that a little bit more politically. So now you and I were outside smoking, talking about how much we hate Depeche Mode, right?
Sure.
And we feel something. We feel like that little energy connection, right? Like, yeah, fuck those people who like that. We don't, Now, we're really afraid to say, but you know who I really like? The Bee Gees. Because now we're afraid to say what we do believe in, because now our relationship is tenuous and based on hating the same thing.
Yeah.
So now we do nothing. The only way we can build from not going to Depeche Mode is now we can go like,
Cure,
yeah,
we hate the Smiths.
We hate the Smiths,
Yeah.
and let's find some people that hate the Smiths.
Yeah.
And then-
OMD.
yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, right.
OMD sucks.
I love OMD.
Me too.
Do you like OMD?
Orchestra, what is it? Movements in the Dark? Movements in the Dark.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we have some music.
Psychedelic
we have some fun.
Furs, Lost My Virginity to
God.
Love My Way. You wanted to know that, right? You wanted to know when I lost my virginity?
I'll never listen
Can
to
I
it
just
the
tell
same.
you, I planned this so perfectly. We'll call her
Wow.
Denise V. I don't want to completely tell you her full identity, but I made a mixtape. My mom was out of town, in the basement downstairs, on a couch. Later found out best friend Aaron Weekly spying from around a corner.
Yes.
That song came on right when things took off, if you feel me.
I do. I'm with you.
I was done before the chorus.
And it gets to the chorus quick in that
It does.
song. Yeah.
It's like moving forward with all my.
Right.
No, that's.
Loving you is.
Oh wait, no, but that's "I'll Stop the World."
Oh, that's-
Mel
oh
with
my
you.
God, yes.
Yeah, that's
That
an
was
easy
my
mistake.
mixtape from
Point
Steve.
is I was done in seconds. I just kept going because I was confused. I didn't know
It's awkward.
like when you should stop.
Yeah, it's awkward.
I was physically ready and I maybe wasn't emotionally prepared. So I just hung in for a while. And
With a good soundtrack. I mean, it could have been worse.
yeah, I just tried to enjoy the song at
Yeah.
that point, yeah. What on earth were we talking about before? Oh yes, if you don't, if you,
Oh, yeah,
if
when
you,
you hate
if you,
people, yeah.
yes, if your identity is shared by things you
Yeah.
hate, there's really nothing to build on.
No, and then it gets really dicey because now the three of us are friends, we hate the same thing, and we know that we're capable of cruelty and hatred. So now I'm going to do whatever I need to do or say to stay with you. And then it just becomes, it's so empty.
Well, the thing I think we should all, like everyone in here, we're all guilty of it. And it's what I want you to point out how every single genocide has ever started.
Yeah.
Every genocide has started the same way. And that is,
Dehumanization.
we dehumanize.
All genocides
We did it-
recorded in history started with a subtle dehumanization of people, which always starts with language.
Well, in World War II, we called them Jerrys and Japs and all these things.
And
Because if you
Jews,
called them
I mean,
that, then
yes.
they weren't people. And same with Vietnam. And so first you have to label them something, right?
With language.
With language. And then they're different from you. So you're not killing a human because we actually don't want to kill a human. That's good news. We're adverse to killing each other.
We're biology, like our biology wires us to really, it's really hard. Like if you're, sober and not and mentally well,
Yeah.
it's really hard to kill someone who you see within the scope of morality.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to hurt people, you have to push them outside of that scope. And we start with bad, good, evil, then dehumanization.
And so this is my rejection. So most certainly a lot of people who voted for Trump are xenophobes and are racist. That's certainly is the case. Some percentage. But in my little leftist silo in LA, they're all racist. They're all racist. Everyone who voted for Trump is a racist. And I'm like, that's not true. That's bullshit. That's not, and so it's that. It's step one. So now they're racist. And once I've labeled someone a racist, I don't really give a shit if they get punched in the face. I don't really give a shit if they get thrown in jail. I don't care about those things. So
You don't.
it's step one in me not really caring what happens to those people. And so you had a unique experience, which is you were in the hurricane that came through Houston. And what happened in that situation? I mean, we get it that there was wind and water. You don't have to tell us about that.
There was a lot of wind
part.
and a lot of, like 61 inches in 3 days. Yeah, and it was devastating for us. And as a city, Houston just kicks so much ass. Like Houston is just we are really strong, amazing people there and super diverse. I mean, like my kid went to a public elementary school in our neighborhood, 51 countries of origin, first generation.
Wow.
Like this is like, they say it's one of the most diverse cities in the world. And the thing about Houston that's great, I'll just plug it while we're talking about it, is while everyone's doing the wall conversation, we're just building longer and longer tables. The thing at Houston is, if you're willing to work hard, shoot straight, be kind, there's a place for you in Houston. Like it's a great city. We got divided by the election.
Yeah.
The election was, we were not immune from that, just like no one was immune from that. And during Harvey, what you saw was people being people again. It was such I felt like it was a gift in some ways of seeing, it was a powerful reminder that the divisiveness that we buy into, we have to be super careful about it because someone is benefiting from it. Certainly the Trump administration benefits from the divisiveness. But when it comes down to it, first of all, the Cajun Navy showed up. So the Cajun Navy, the Cajun Navy showed up, which are 500 fishermen and women in boats in like swamp things.
They've been waiting 9 years for this.
Yeah.
They were like just sitting there in their Pathfinder boats.
And it's a real love affair between Louisiana and Texas because we were there during Katrina. Like
They took in a lot.
Right, we took a lot of as many as we could and still have a lot of permanent residents now. But so it was like one of those things where no one reached out and said, "Hey, I'm here to help you and get you out of the house in my boat. Who did you vote for?" It was like we're just here as humans looking at humans.
That's so important, and it's a shame that it takes a life-threatening event to go, oh, first and foremost, we're two humans and we owe it to each other to try to keep one another alive. That sounds saccharine, but it's really true.
It's so true.
And here's the other thing is, it's not required to have your point of view and your political preference and the way you're going to vote. You can have all that. You're not giving that up by refusing to make them all an outgroup or making them all the enemy or making the other. It's not required. You can still want to reunite separated families at the border and still not have to look at them as them. You know what I'm saying? That's just me on my soapbox about that. I just think, again, you had the Houston thing. My thing is all my hobbies. I'm it's hillbillies. I'm the only person out there that voted for a Democrat without question, and I'm grateful that I'm regularly confronted with like, oh, this guy's got a Trump flag on his dune buggy, yuck, and then I'm like, oh, he's got a cute family. Oh, this guy like worked really hard to like, you know, bring his family out here, and look, and he's pushing her on the swing. And then I start seeing all these things that like I do together, and then I'll talk to him, and then if that never comes up, then it's like, oh right, there is a ton still, and we have to focus on that for us to somehow work through all this stuff, right? I mean, just screaming at each other over a wall, is that going to work?
No, it's not going to work. I think there's a couple things. I mean, like the people that you're seeing in the dune buggy,
yeah, that's
a lot of my family. Like, I mean, I really am a fifth generation Texan. Like, we're not like these are serious, like, I thought, my family always thought that I'd end up in college on a skeet shooting scholarship, on a shooting scholarship.
You went, you did.
They thought I would end up there. I was a shooter.
Okay.
I shot skeet like
a motherfucker.
Like a motherfucker, like
yeah.
I did. Like, yes. Yeah, it was really good. And so that's this, how many of you grew up in families like that? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, hunt and fish, and that was the jam. But I think...
Or you have a great analogy, too. Think about your grandparents.
Yeah.
Give that analogy.
What is it?
Well, it's that...
Tell me.
All of us in this room think about our grandparents and what percentage of our ideology matches up with theirs, right? It's about 20% just across the board. And who would want to excommunicate their grandparents from their lives?
Yeah, and I don't
You can
think
have these conflicting points of view and still love one another.
You can, up until the moment that your opinions and beliefs diminish my humanity.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Then we got a big ass
You just got to
problem.
preach for Monica.
Yeah, I've been
Hit us,
yes.
Monica.
Problem, right?
Yeah, and it depends on who you are voting for the Democrat, who you are at the dunes, right? If
You've been and you
I
fucking
love the
loved
dunes,
it, yeah.
but
Don't write a check your ass can't cash,
okay.
Monica.
But if let's say I was a Muslim person at the dunes and I was talking to these people who voted for Trump, it's personal for them. It's not just like we can get, let's see across the aisle. It's you are actively making a choice that affects my day-to-day life.
That's it.
And in a negative way, in a painful way.
Yeah.
So if you're a person who isn't experiencing that every day and is just voting, and it might be easier. It might be easier to be like, yeah, it's fine. We're all people and we're just people. But if you're the recipient of the hatred, it's harder to do that.
And I think it's not a fair ask. I don't think the people who are the target of the hatred have the responsibility to build the table and invite the conversation.
Yep.
It's like, come on. Like, it's like,
I totally agree.
That's the part to me that I can do that. Like, I could go with you to the dunes and talk to those families, and I can, because I have the privilege of being white. I have the privilege of knowing they're not going to hurt my kids. But like, I remember during Harvey, that's when they were going to rescind DACA. Like, that's when they, remember that? And the very first casualty at Harvey was a young immigrant who saved a couple of families, went back for a third family, and hit a wire in his boat and got electrocuted and died. Like, and so it's like,
Look,
I don't know.
I don't
hard.
disagree with either of you on either of those points. And I think there's like the simple fact that illegal immigrants commit less crimes than natural born citizens, and then legal immigrants also commit less crimes. Like, just this notion of them being critical is just patently wrong. So that's wrong, and that's great. And we agree on that. My question is, the method of getting through to that person is the method to get through to that person to go like, oh, well, maybe you're just fiscally conservative and you made this choice because you're fiscally conservative, and maybe it could just tell you like what some of the other ramifications of that are. Is that the approach, or is the approach, you're a fucking racist, you're red, let's divide? To me, it's all about how we get out and what's productive and what's not productive. I couldn't agree more with every one of these policy things you guys are bringing up. It's just, I don't think the path out of all that is in-group, out-group.
I don't think the path out of it, I don't think it is either, but I will tell you this. At this point in the administration and everything that's happened, there are some people that are so doubled down, there is no conversation to be had. Like,
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just too scary and too unsafe.
There's so much fear, yeah.
There's so much fear. And here's the thing, you've got a leader right now who I just finished this.
Jerry Brown?
Not our leader.
Not that.
Yeah,
okay,
not
okay.
here. Yeah, not here. But we have an administration that I just finished a 7-year study on leadership and what is the quality of brave leadership. And what is the most dangerous kind of leadership that we can see in organizations, because I do work with companies and people all over the world. And what's so interesting to me is this formula that I think completely explains what we're seeing right now, which is take a group of people in uncertainty and fear, give them someone to blame for their pain, and deliver an enemy.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you can get away with anything.
Well, it's, Nazi Germany, they said.
I mean, it is,
Yeah.
but it's like we're in so much, like we have changed fundamentally. I started my research 6 months before 9/11, just obviously coincidentally. And I have watched fear change who we are. Mm-hmm. It has changed who we are as a country.
But again, that's on both sides.
No, that's across.
That's the big unifier.
It's the big unifier.
Because
except,
all the lefties in my silo are like panicked, like they themselves were kicked out of the country. Like they're living at this heightened sense of fear that is, and again, I get it. They're white. They're not the ones. With that said, they are acting like they were, like there is a heightened sense of panic that I think is a little unrealistic.
I don't know if it's heightened. And
Okay.
It's also people lifting up other people, right? So the white people that you're talking about.
Well, no. Okay.
Or what?
My lefty silo's got a lot of brown people. And
Yeah.
a lot of gay people.
But I thought you were talking about the white people who are overly panicked, is what you were just saying.
Okay, sure.
But they're not overly panicked because you need numbers. You need safety in numbers, and you need right?
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
Well, look,
I think you do need safety
there's two
numbers.
ways to look at it. It's a glass half full, glass half empty. There's a way to look at this and go, oh my God, this system's kind of working. There have been federal judges that said, no, you can't do that ban. Like, we're seeing the system work in ways. We're also seeing it being dismantled in ways. And it's really how you want to view that. And we're way too far down a wormhole now. But it's also working. The branches of government are working. The safety valves are working. He's being regularly shut down by federal judges. So there's things that are encouraging as well that are happening.
But I think he's also being shut down because people are making so much noise.
I think that's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that's.
Look, I'm wrong a
that's
lot.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm a hopeful person. I believe that people are inherently good. Mm-hmm. I do. And I think that we're going to be okay, but I don't think we're going to be okay and quiet at the same time.
Okay, so before you leave, I want you to tell us some actual and practical ways to be vulnerable. Because vulnerability is the path out of all this stuff, right? And so what are the practical ways people can be vulnerable?
Well, I think the greatest act of vulnerability is just to be real, to be authentic, to be honest about who you are with people that you care about. I don't believe in vulnerability for vulnerability's sake. Like, I think I really don't. I believe that we share our stories and our struggles with people who've earned the right to hear them. Mm-hmm. We share our stories with people with whom we're in relationships that can bear the weight of the story. But I think ultimately vulnerability it ties up this last political piece we're talking about. Stop working your shit out on other people. Mm-hmm. We all have pain, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have ever had this career had I not gone through AA.
Right.
Because all the slogans are actually true.
Mm-hmm. Annoyingly so.
Annoyingly,
yeah.
that a bunch of drunks came up with the truth of life.
Yeah. Except for Keep It Simple. I'm not there yet on Keep It Simple.
Oh, I like Keep It Simple.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, the one
Even
I
the
don't
bumper sticker you like when you see Keep It Simple? Okay.
Yeah, I look right on, dude.
Two guys fighting at a stoplight on their way to a meeting. Keep It Simple on the bumper.
The one I don't like is Live and Let Live.
Yeah, I don't need that one either.
Yeah. And then I had a therapist one time say, Brené, the saying is let go and let God, not let go and let Brené.
How dare she?
That was rude, right?
Yeah.
No, I think the answer to vulnerability is this. We are so much better at causing pain than we are at feeling our way through our own pain. Mm-hmm. And I think vulnerability is about saying, yeah, I'm imperfect. I make mistakes. It's messy. I don't get shit done that I need to get done. But I'm worthy of love and belonging. And I'm going to treat myself like that, and I'm going to treat other people like that. I think that's the bottom line.
And on the pain topic, my mantra when I'm miserable and in discomfort, my mantra is, this is temporary, this is temporary, this is temporary, this is temporary. Because I need to remind myself. Because when I am in that moment of pain and anguish, I am certain that's the rest of my life. I'm positive of it. I will never escape this for the rest of my life.
But
my wife's going to be mad at me. And I just go, it's temporary, it's temporary, it's temporary.
Yeah.
And then I go, the other thing I think is I've never been on a roller coaster, having at a 10, woo, hands up, going down the first big hill and thinking oh shit, I bet I'm gonna feel this way for the rest of my life. Oh fuck, rest of my life's gonna rule. I always know the good time's gonna end in seconds. I'll the fucking Love My Way by Psychedelic Furs. It'll be over before you know it. Never fearful that my joy is gonna last forever. Always terrified my pain's gonna last indefinitely. So I just go, it's temporary, it's temporary. And sometimes it's 3 days of saying it's temporary, and then it is fucking temporary, It's all temporary. If you just weather the storm, not to bring it back to the Houston hurricane.
No, I think that's so smart. I will tell you one of my vulnerability hacks like that I tell myself. Mm-hmm. Is one of the most vulnerable things that we do, that I think is the key to life, is setting boundaries.
Oh yeah, you're big into boundaries, my wife told me.
Yeah, I'm big into boundaries.
She said she's gonna set some boundaries with you.
That'll be so fun. I'm big into boundaries, because I'm just big into here's what's okay, here's what's not okay.
Okay.
At work, it's okay, it's totally okay you're pissed. It's not okay to scream or pound your fists on here's what's okay, here's what's not okay. Mm. So one thing that I do, because I also have that, I need to be liked and I don't want to disappoint anyone, that a good girl horse shit.
Right.
And so what I usually do is I've come to the conclusion after studying this, that when you do something hard, it's uncomfortable for about 8 seconds. Mm. So what I do is when I'm going to say something like, hey, Brené, can you bring all the food for the bake sale on Tuesday? Then I just say, choose discomfort over resentment, choose discomfort over resentment, choose discomfort over resentment. And I just say it 3 times, because 8 seconds, that's how long you have to ride a bull in the rodeo.
That's a long time when you're on a bull.
Oh, when a bull, it's a long time.
Yeah, or waiting for something to come out of the microwave.
Or standing across from the PTO, it's still a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I just say.
Not very long on your first time, but.
Not to the psychedelic furs. It's a short time.
Yeah, it's really quick.
So I think that's very helpful, and it goes to your temporary thing. Just, you can either be uncomfortable for a couple of seconds or resentful for 6 months and be like, here are your brownies, asshole, I hope you choke on them.
Yeah.
Which is not who we want to be.
No. When you're writing your narrative self at night and you tell that part of your story to yourself, you're going to be disappointed. My one quick experience with my lovely bride, who probably left with Steve, but I bet you for 2 years, we'd lay in bed together at night, post-coital, and that's not true. It was like a once a week. But she's on her phone. This is back when there was a BlackBerry and a lot of buttons, so the buttons, super fast text are just like firing shit off. And then I would say to her, you know, you do a lot of emailing in bed at night. She's like, well, I got to get my stuff done. Like, I have emails that need to be answered. And then I would say, well, I don't think you're managing your time well, right? So now I get into a debate about how well she's managing her time. I say, you know what you should do is you should set aside in 90 minutes in the day to do those emails. And now I'm like creating the system. And she's like, you don't fucking need to tell me how to manage my time first. Secondly, I'm running my business just fine. I don't need your expertise on this. And then the next night I'd try another approach, like, well, you know, those things are really, the blue light will keep you up. Like, you're getting a lot of blue light.
I know.
And then I'd try that scientific approach, right? This went on for 2 years.
Kristen Bell
One
is
night-
a saint.
She's a saint.
She is a saint.
Say Kristen.
This goes on for 2 years, and one night, I found the courage. I don't know where it came from. I found the courage to say, honey, I would really like your attention. And she goes, oh, yeah. And I was like, what? She would never not give me attention.
Right.
Like, if I say I would love your attention, she's never gonna go, well, but I have an email. That's just not her. I didn't marry that person. That person's a dick.
But that's such a beautiful example of being vulnerable.
Yes, it took me 2 years.
It's
I tell
not
you one
easy.
more. I have one more.
Yeah.
Equally crazy. She has all these charities. Ugh, she's so good.
She is so good.
She's all these charities, and a lot of them in the beginning of us dating involved Africa. So she would like be gone to Africa for giving people water. And I would, this is evil what I'm about to admit on this stage. But as an anthropologist, I would say, you know, often the white man has gone down there and tried to meddle, and it's backfired and caused way more damage than it ever helped, which is true. This is factually true. They taught one group to separate where they wash their dishes and where they wash their clothes, and they had a population explosion. And then they all died of famine. So I'm giving her all these examples of the arrogance of white people going to Africa and making decisions that'll end up killing more people. And I'm doing this for years.
He's lonely.
So
And by
many-
the way, I'm making pretty sound arguments. They're not just out of thin air. There's shit I learned in anthropology. It's called
But for bullshit
naive-
reasons, right?
Well, I didn't even know yet that it was bullshit reason. It's called naive realism. I was accusing her and her charities of. We would fight about it nonstop, and all of a sudden I had a breakthrough where we were fighting in Florida at her ex-stepdad Larry's wedding. Oh, I love Larry, by the way. Every time Larry takes a bite of food, 100% of the time he goes, Oh, well. I'm not even doing his catchphrase yet. He goes, love food. On 100% of the bites, and he means it. More gratitude than any human alive. Larry rules. We go to the wedding. We're fighting about Africa. I'm telling her about genocides. Finally, I say to her, you know what? I'm in love with my mom. She worked a lot. She built a business. I had to, at times, be second to that because that had to build everything and pay for everything. We got it. We were second to that, and she was gone a lot. And I'm worried because this work you're doing is good, that it's more important than me, and that I will be second to this for the rest of my life. And she goes, if you ever tell me I need you at home, I need you at home, I will not go to Africa. And literally that sentence, it was gone. I was like, you can go to Africa as much as you want. And By the way, after 11 years of being together, I wish she'd go to fucking Africa more often. It would be awesome. But again, that could have gone on forever until I finally said, I'm scared. I think I'm going to be second. I'm second to work. I'm second to Africa. God knows what's next. And so, yeah, vulnerability. Brené, I thank you so much for carrying that message. I thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you. Super fun. Thank you for inviting me.
What a delight. So fun.
If you want to hear the fact check, please stay tuned after this musical interlude by Robert Ellis. Just want to thank Robert Ellis. He was so much fun. He put the audience in the best mood. He's such a talented musician. Please check out Robert's stuff. Also, just a special thanks to Lizzie Dulian, my top queen in Austin, who hooked us up with Robert Ellis, who was so kind and came out and put on a heck of a show. So please enjoy some Robert Ellis before the fact check.
Supposed to do? Just drive around the fairgrounds another time or two. Where am I gonna go when the girl behind the counter at the coffee shop gets tired of me hanging around? Nothing left to say, trying to get away. I'm bored out of my mind, and I've changed all the light bulbs and had this conversation about 3 million times or more. Guess I'll walk around the grocery store again. Oh, this don't feel like living. It's just surviving. I ain't going nowhere. Oh, I'm just driving. Upstairs, and I'm down here watching television, trying to make some sense out of the way it feels to be so close to you. It feels so far away. Oh, I just wish you'd go to bed without the expectation that I'd come up there and say something to help you feel like things aren't such a mess. I'll just sweep the floor and clean the desk, put up the dishes, and then fold some clothes, I guess. This don't feel like living. No, 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 no. It's just surviving. I ain't going nowhere. Oh, I'm just driving.
Thanks, guys. I think it was a surprise that I'm here. To everyone, including me. Dax emailed me and asked me if I'd do this, and I was like, it's a no-brainer. It's gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel. It's at the Paramount. It's your audience. It's gonna be easy. So I'm just gonna play a few quick songs, kind of set things up. This next one is, I asked permission to do this one because I want to just say before I play it that it has some offensive language. But it's a love song though, so it's It's for the most noble of causes that I swear. This is a new song. This is like the first or second time I've played it. Please don't be offended. Sorry, Mom.
I'm fucking crazy. You know that it's true. You knew it when you met me. Don't act like this is new. I don't know how to stop myself from acting so insane. Screaming like an animal and rattling your cage. You're fucking crazy. You make me so mad. Some days you seem so happy. Some days you get so sad. I never know from one moment to the next who you're gonna be. Sometimes I think you may be even crazier than me. We're fucking crazy. Crazy in love. You make me wanna tear the world in two. I have lost touch with reality. There's nothing I can do. 'Cause you are fucking crazy. And I am fucking crazy about you. Well, this world is getting wilder every day. Sanity can be so hard to find. But you and I, we found another way. Even if it means we lost our mind. We're fucking crazy. Crazy in love. You make me wanna tear the world in two. I have lost touch with reality. There's nothing I can do. 'Cause you are fucking crazy. I guess I am fucking crazy. Oh, you are fucking crazy. And I am fucking crazy about you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you. My mom heard that song, and she said, "I have a 6-week-old kid." Thank you very much. But she heard that song, and she said, "You have a child now. What are you gonna do if he starts saying those words?" I was like, "I'm gonna call Mensa immediately. He's 6 weeks old. If he says anything at all, he will be the smartest child ever to have lived." All right, thank you guys for putting up with me. I'm gonna play this song. This is a song that Dax requested. This is about growing up in the Bible Belt. It's called Sing Along.
Nobody talks to just a boy when they told me that lie, but Lord, it felt so true. With one big voice, all the children sing. The grown folks led, and they praised his name. Like an army camp, just marching off to fight. Like a mindless chant, it's gonna make you right. And that's a hell of a thing to do to a kid, just to teach him right from wrong. You can burn in hell the rest of your days, or you can choose to sing along, sing along. Sing along. You can speculate about the way things end, or you can sit and wait for the resurrection. But a child believes in whatever they're told. A pillar of flame, a street of gold, and the flames of hell, they seem so high when I could barely see over the pew. I was just a boy when they told me that lie, but Lord, it felt so true. And that's a hell of a thing to do to a kid, just to teach him right from wrong. You can burn in hell the rest of your days, or you can choose to sing along, sing along. Sing along. Sing along. Sing
Thank you guys so much. Thanks.
Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boys, she'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a fact checker. Oh, here
I
she
love
comes.
this.
Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. I don't know what voice I should pick for that,
That was
song.
great.
Should I be imitating Daryl Hall or just doing me?
No, that
She's a fact checker. Or what if I do Michael McDonald doing it?
All right, sure.
Oh, here she comes.
No.
Watch out, man, she'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man-eater.
Well, no, it was fact checker.
Oh, fuck. I got too distracted by trying to do Michael.
Yeah,
McDonald.
I like the first way.
Okay, we'll keep that one. Just
Okay.
keep that one.
That was great.
Oh.
Now, was that one where they provided you came up with it?
Yeah. You can kind of tell.
I guess it was obvious.
That's right, because it wasn't very good.
No, it was good. It just was
Yeah, I just
clear.
have man-eater written in my phone. Someone suggested man-eater.
That was great. I love these requests.
Oh, here she comes.
That was really good.
Watch out, boy, she'll chew your facts. It almost sounds like chew your ass.
Oh no.
Watch out, boy, she'll chew your ass.
I'm
Do you
not
think that's
gonna-
a warning that should be given out? Like if a bro
about me?
not you, but like if a bro's dated someone and then his bros starts dating his ex-girl and he just gives them like a heads up, like,
She
watch
likes
out, boy.
this.
She'll chew your ass. It's just a heads up.
Do you think it's would be watch out? I guess it depends on the person, right?
Yeah, maybe
What
maybe it
people
would
like.
be like
Like,
not watch out, boy. It'd be like Enjoy, boy, she'll chew your ass.
Yeah, something like that. Something positive.
Yeah, something positive. Okay. Oh boy.
This is not me. I
No,
don't want
it's all
everyone to
me.
get confused.
Whose voice is whose?
No. No, that you're not talking about me.
No, she won't chew your ass. Or maybe she will. We don't know. You've not declared on here whether or not you'll chew someone's ass.
I'm not going to declare.
No, that you got to leave some secrets
Yeah, some secrets from
to
me.
your suitors. You're not taking a position one way or another on it, which I think is the right move.
Down the middle.
Yeah.
Down the ass crack. Okay, something great happened when I was listening to Brené.
What?
Well, I love Brené
Oh, we love Brené.
so much.
Well, first of all, let's applaud Brené. We'd never met. She agrees to come on and do. Oh my God! By the way, I'm heartbroken. I got the best Foley instrument I discovered the other night, and I'm gonna bring it and I'm gonna put on a show for you.
Oh my God.
I was so excited to bring it, and I forgot it.
Dang
It beats the hell out of my beard. Walking through the forest.
It does? I like it when it's like a natural thing, though. Whatever. We'll do it on Monday.
Yeah, we got to do it because it's so great.
Okay.
All right. Not to build anticipation too much, but it's incredible.
Oh.
I discovered it putting the girls down, and I was on fire.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
really nice thing. And we're going to have a nice romantic conversation because it's a real mood setting.
Oh.
This sound that it's mimicking.
Is it in a restaurant?
It could be in a restaurant. It could be
Should we
anywhere.
play 20 questions to figure out what it is?
It's a meteorological event. Oh. Rain. I can make it sound like it's raining on the roof.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be great if we were doing the fact check and there's just a gentle pitter patter of raindrops?
That would be nice.
Well, that's what we're going to have next week.
All right.
Okay.
Brené.
Brené Brown, who came as a stranger, didn't know either of us, came and did a live show, also high stakes. Mm-hmm. And we knew within 2 seconds backstage that she was going to hand me my ass if the situation called for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a powerhouse.
she's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Okay. She's
Okay.
a powerful house. You okay?
She's a, yeah.
She's a brick.
She's not a brick
She's a
shit
brick
house.
powerhouse.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
She's built like a brick powerhouse.
She is a brick powerhouse. Yeah.
But if she's listening just this episode and not others, she should know we have a long standing conversation about describing people as brick shit houses. It's very complimentary. Just know that going in.
Yeah. We love it. We
also,
love
hi,
Brené.
Brené, if you're listening.
Hi, Brené. We miss you.
We miss you and we would like to talk to you again.
Yeah. And something great happened. Beginning of the live show, she brought a bag of treats for you as a gift, which was so nice. A lot of Texas stuff. And one of those was jerky from Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's jerky.
And we didn't know about Buc-ee's yet. Buc-ee's wasn't a thing that we were excited about yet.
Right.
So when I went back and listened and heard her say that the jerky was
Buc-ee's.
from Buc-ee's, I freaked out.
Buc-ee's jerky.
Yes. Can you
Tasty
believe
jerky.
it?
Yep. Yep.
And it was foreshadowing for a few days later when we got so excited about Buc-ee's.
We sure did.
Driving.
It was serendipitous.
Yeah. Anyway, there was some confusion about Matthew McConaughey's age. You thought 51,
You okay?
and he's 48.
Oh, boy.
He's a young buck.
I was 3 years off and in the wrong direction. That's not what
Yeah.
you want to put out there in the universe.
It's not-
Matthew, I think you look great and you look younger than me.
He looks great.
He looks great.
And you probably felt like that because he's been working for so long.
Since I was, a
A
teen.
baby.
Yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. That's why I thought that. He's so accomplished that I elevated his age to make myself feel better.
And I went to this gala with Kristen,
Okay.
and he was there,
Okay.
and he was auctioning off some stuff for his charity, which was very nice. And he was as charming on that stage as he is in his movies.
Yeah, he's got a lot of real life charisma.
He really does.
A lot of it. It's really weird you're bringing him up because 3 days ago I decided I'm doing our next intro as him.
Wow.
I've been practicing for a couple days.
Oh,
And now you just brought him up
cool. You've been
Yeah.
practicing. Great.
a little bit.
Okay. It takes practice.
It does. There's a few like key words I have to say to get into it.
Great. I'm excited. We have a lot to look forward to for Mondays. Geez, we're putting a lot of
Too much
a high
pressure.
bar. Yeah.
Let's just not even have an episode.
Monday's episode is going to be the Joel McHale fact check.
Ooh,
One
as
day-
McConaughey.
There was a runner about tennis and the scoring of tennis. Who is it?
This is the fact check of a million teases because I just teased that I'm going to do McConaughey, and then Peter Krause just interrupted our fact check.
He did. He knocked on the attic door,
Because
which
we
is
live
so
close.
fun because it's like that's what brothers would do.
Yeah, totally. They'd ruin each other's fact check.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just stopped by for a 10-minute chat. But we had to kick him out to get back to work.
We did.
But it's a tease because why did he come in and ruin our fact check, but he won't come in and get interviewed?
We're working on it, guys.
We're working on it, guys.
We're working on it.
He's open to the idea. It's just scheduling him. It's very difficult. He's on a very taxing show.
Busy person, yeah.
Busy man with a big heart. Do you think he's, well, I won't. Well, he's not here. Am I allowed to ask that?
What?
Do you think
he's
a babe?
attractive?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he is.
I know, but see, it's hard for me to tell because I really think that, but that's also my parenthood love.
It gets confusing.
Yeah, I don't know what's what.
But Adam Braverman is the type of character you generally like on a show.
I
You
like the
Saracen.
nice guys.
You like the nice guys.
The
So
good boys.
He was your heartthrob on Parenthood. Way above Crosby.
No.
Well, maybe not way above, just a lot above.
No, I wasn't.
You liked Joel.
I did like Joel.
Yeah.
I did. I did like Joel.
Yeah.
I liked all of you guys,
Oh, okay.
except who did I not like? Let me think.
Hot gossip.
Let me think.
Hot gossip.
I don't think there's been a guy on that I haven't liked on Parenthood.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because you loved Mr. Sear.
Love. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Tennis scoring.
Oh, right. Okay. Tennis scoring.
So each tennis match is made up of 2 to 3 sets. Okay? To win a set, you must win at least 6 games. The games are scored starting at love or 0 and go up to 40. But that's actually just 4 points. From love, the first point is 15, then 30, then 40, then game point, which wins the game.
What a stupid scoring system. Why would the increments be 15 and then 10?
And then
It goes love 15,
30.
30.
Oh, and then 40.
And then 40.
Oh my God,
it goes
you're
15,
right.
15, 10. And then within the 10, then there's 2 because you can go add in, add out, add in, add out. So then it becomes 20. It's so stupid. The English had to have come up with it, just like our
Yeah.
stupid foot, inches, miles,
Metric system.
Fahrenheit, all of it. None of it based on that.
That's interesting. I never really thought about it, but that is stupid.
It's
I agree.
preposterous. No offense to tennis lovers. I love the game. It's great.
They didn't invent it.
The English didn't?
No, the players.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So they shouldn't be
yeah.
offended.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so the Romanian study, the sad Romanian study about the orphanage, you can find it on NPR. It's called Orphans' Lonely Beginnings Reveal How Parents Shape a Child's Brain.
Ooh.
And I read it, and it was...
It's too heavy, right, to even talk about?
No, we're going to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
It's not
And
controversial.
then Kristen yelled out from the audience, Romania.
She did.
So if you heard a little voice in the audience, that was her.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, also, side note, I used to be obsessed with Romania
No. Why?
because all the good gymnasts were from there.
Oh, right.
So I was begging my parents to go on vacation there when I was young.
God. And they were like, hon, you don't
They were
understand.
like, it's a third world. We're not going.
Right.
I was mad at them. They never gave me what I wanted.
A lot of movies are shot in Romania, weirdly.
Yeah.
Like Kristen has done a film in Romania, and I
Yeah.
think it's much different than when you were a kid.
It is. It's gotten
It's a
better.
beautiful place. Everyone should go on vacation there.
Now it's a good place to vacation.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should do a Romanian tourism commercial.
I think we're doing one right now.
It would
A pro bono Romania.
it would conflict with our other tourism.
Well, do you think states are competing with countries?
Probably. It's probably cheaper to go
There's
to
another tease. Guys, we're going to be in bed with New Mexico, which is exciting.
No, I'm talking about our commercial. We have to edit it out probably because I don't think we can say it yet. The LA tourism commercial we shot.
Oh, right. But then also the podcast is being sponsored by the New Mexican Board of Tourism. So
Yeah.
many.
It's a lot.
Okay.
The Romanian study. you said if it was this thing where if babies weren't touched, they died. That could be a different article that I did not find. But this is about parenting and affection and even just attention, because obviously the kids in these orphanages were not getting that. So then they did all these studies on them, and they had a lot of developmental and brain issues, and they even did scans, and there was like the gray matter versus white matter was all off what it should be, and their brains were physically smaller.
Oof.
Yeah. And so the scientists realized the cause wasn't anything as simple as malnutrition. It was a different kind of deprivation, the lack of a parent or someone who acted like a parent. Now what happens is that you're staring at a white ceiling and no one's talking to you and no one's soothing you when you get upset. So areas of the brain involved in vision and language and emotion don't get wired correctly.
Oof.
And then this professor of psychology at UCLA says all the research on neglected children reminds her of something that should be obvious. Parents are playing a really big role in shaping children's brain development. And parenting, she says, is a bit like oxygen. It's easy to take for granted until you see someone who isn't getting enough.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I knew that would bum me out.
I know, it's such a bummer.
Let's see if we can pull ourselves out of that.
Well,
Let's
people
see.
also need to know.
I know. We gotta tell the truth.
Yeah, it's sad.
And we gotta get some of the sadder info out there.
And it's good. Parents, touch your kids and be affectionate with them, and
don't let them stare
maybe
at a
find some other
white ceiling.
other kids that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna pull that yoke back, and we're gonna gain elevation.
Okay. Now, you said that mainly the people you interview are people that have achieved the American dream, which is that they're famous and that they're rich.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to, the American dream is the national ethos, is the ideal that every U.S. citizen should have an equal opportunity to achieve success and prosperity through hard work, determination, and initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right in some ways, but I don't think being famous is a part of the American dream.
Well, I think it's evolved.
Sure, that's an old thing.
I think in the 50s, it was like the American dream was you own a home, you own a vehicle.
Yeah. You have all the American ideals.
Yeah. And now I think you got to also be famous.
No, I don't think that at all. I think that's
I mean, like on social media, you need like 1 million followers. And
that is not the American dream.
I agree.
It
shouldn't be. But I feel like now kids think success is getting money and getting some fame.
I think they do, which is why I wanted to clarify this, that we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't think that fame has nothing to do with whether you're successful or not.
Yeah, and if you don't believe two famous people telling you that, then
I am not famous. How dare you?
You got recognized in Denver last weekend.
From this show.
That's famous.
No.
When you're out with your friends and a stranger recognizes you, that's famous. Sorry to be the one to tell you this, Monica. You're famous.
Well,
that's pretty good. That sounded like
true,
you're base.
It did. It sounded exactly
you're
like
famous. That should be a new burn.
Yeah, it would be great if it was a burn. We should do that.
You're famous.
To even out the scale a little bit?
Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Next time I see someone like, if I ever see Matt Damon, I'm going to go, you're famous.
Don't do it to him. He doesn't deserve an insult.
Who do you want me to do it to?
Who deserves a big insult?
Well, no one deserves an insult, but let's just say I saw.
Yeah.
You got to go big.
Yeah.
You got to go real big so no one feels bad.
I guess you can use Matt Damon.
Will Smith?
Sure. I like him, though.
You're famous. Me too. I like him a lot, Will Smith. I watch his Instagram videos, and I feel like he's a shoo-in for this podcast.
Oh.
I think he is.
I'd love to have him.
I feel like he's on the same mission we're on.
Yeah, he has the American dream, rich and famous.
That's right. You're famous.
Okay, so I think we were talking about this American dream stuff. And you said Mark Maron is the only one that's been on that has said that money and fame has helped his self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just want to be careful that we're not painting him as like a vapid person. Because I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was saying like, it's eased a lot of his anxiety.
Yeah, and
it does.
I'm not saying it negatively. He's the only person.
Right.
And you can just hear his own words on our podcast.
Yeah, you totally can.
Yeah, I wasn't saying anything disparaging.
But I just want to be clear. Yeah. Okay, so we talk a little bit about Michael Pollan on the last fact check on Dr. Drew's fact check. So he comes up again on this, so people can listen to that fact check if they want some info on Michael Pollan and psilocybin and psychedelics. Okay. Oh, one thing I wanted to clarify, you talk about being vulnerable and having Kristen put her phone down and stuff. So at one point you did a mime. And so you don't know through listening what happened, but you said, honey, I need your attention. And then she said, okay. And then you did a mime of putting the phone down.
Oh,
So people need to know that that's what she
physically
did.
transpired.
Yes.
Great.
That she listened and she put the phone down.
Well, and then I think I also mimed that she put it in the microwave, set it to 2 minutes, hit start, the phone blew up,
Exploded.
all with hand signals.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And you bought a new house. And
Because it did catch on fire as a result of that.
Well, that's it.
I have one fact to add.
Okay.
We were at a 10. We were at a 10 that night in Austin,
It was
Texas.
so fun.
We loved it so much.
Even though I had food poisoning, we still loved it.
You also, something that was a visual experience, not an auditory experience, is that you pooped your pants twice on stage.
No, that is not a
and
fact.
then you stood up really
How
abruptly,
dare
and then
you.
you put your hands behind your butt. And we thought, oh, she's getting her wallet out really quick for something. Well, there's no bills due. Why is she getting her? Uh-oh. And then you waddled off stage. And then you came back and you were wearing different pants.
Yeah.
And that happened
Costume
twice.
change.
Yes. Most people don't know that you were in 3 different kinds of
You're
slacks.
such a liar. That didn't happen, but
Could have.
could have. It could have. It could have. It could have.
Didn't happen, but should have and could
It
have.
was great.
We love it. We love Austin,
We
Texas.
love Austin. We love Brené.
We do. Thanks for everyone that gave us that night.